Hello everybody, and welcome to another week of trading with F45trading.com. This week I'm going to do a quick rundown analysis for the week of May 14th to the 18th. So it is, at the time of this recording, into New York session on Monday. I wasn't able to get off a video my normal time on Sunday evening before the markets open. Just because I actually had a lot of family in town for the weekend, and I was nonstop entertaining, and quite frankly I was exhausted and didn't even get a chance to look at the markets really until about an hour or two ago here. I sat down and did some analysis, so unfortunately it is what it is. But I think we're going to have a good week here for starting May 14th here. I'm just going to pull up the old news calendar events here and see what we've got on tap. So I'm going to slide this over so you can see here at the time of this recording here, it's about 10 o'clock here, 10:30 a.m. New York time. So we're well into the New York open session, and it looks like we've got some Aussie news coming up here later in the day today. I'm going to review that quickly and see where this news could possibly drive price, and see if there's some opportunities we can't capitalize on there. So going into Tuesday, we've got some euro, we've got some pound dollar, and we've got some US dollar core retail. Now, nothing too serious in the way of heavy news events, so this should just be a nice market driver, pushing price around a little bit. Shouldn't see too much whipsaw or fluctuations one way or the other. Some medium impact news, FOMC members speaking again later on in the day, and so we could see some price spikes after normal trading hours as well, so just keep that in mind. And then going into Wednesday, there's some Canadian dollar news, some more US dollar news, and building permits. That's a good one on Wednesday. So looks like we've got a pretty good week shaping up. There's nothing too serious out in terms of NFP or FOMC events or anything like that. Just some nice market volatility that we can look forward to. So we should be well on track to having a week that's conducive to trading pretty much all days. So I'm just going to hop back into the charts here and run through some quick analysis here for you. I want to keep this video relatively short here today. So ultimately, the US dollar has seen a nice price fluctuation out of this consolidation zone down here, and we came up to an area that I had marked earlier. It's just sort of just a little, the bodies of the candles here, as you can see, have failed to penetrate higher into this small consolidation area here, and price has seen a bit of a sell-off. Now, I'm not expecting price to come all the way back down into this consolidation range here. The first target I'm looking for on the downside, though, is 91.75, and that's just basically this old high of this down candle right in here. I think we could see price get drawn down to that this week. Even Monday, Tuesday trading here, you can see Monday's posted a, just zoom in a bit here, you can see Monday's posted a, get rid of that, a nice down day so far. I'm expecting continuation down and potentially this area getting hit into Tuesday's trading. Now, I'm not calling and saying that Tuesday is going to be the low of the week, although it could very well be. Sometimes with weekly profiles and the way that they set up, you could get Tuesday and maybe even Wednesday the low of the week. But I'm definitely looking for this number to get tagged out, and we'll see how much further it wants to go. If it goes lower than 90.30, if you can get this right on there. So if it goes lower than 90.30, what I'm going to anticipate is that, and price close lower than 90.30, not just wick down and reject, but if the candle actually comes down here and it actually closes lower than 91.30, then I would expect the next level into here, and see these highs in here. I'll get rid of these data dividers so you can see a little bit better. See the high here and the high here and the high here. I would expect these old highs to get retested again, and potentially seeing some sort of a bounce. I like a move higher on US dollar. I've been calling for it for a long time, and I think this is just going to be this small 3-day pullback, for maybe potentially 5-day pullback. It's just going to be a normal retracement on this move that I believe will still continue upward, and ultimately 94 big figure is the number that I'm looking for. So basically what I'm saying is I'm looking for price to do something like this, and that's where I'm looking for. So should be just be a short-term pullback. And again, if this number here, if this level here gets breached and then continues to go down, I'll be looking for some sort of a resistance at this level. If this does get broken though, I will be looking for price to pull back down to the 90.75 level. Okay, so just keep that in mind. And then what you could look for there is just sort of like a break retest sort of strategy. If it does come all the way back down to here, I would definitely be looking at some sort of a measurable bounce in this area down here. So if we don't get it here, we'll get it there. But I do believe the U.S. dollar is still going to continue higher. So I don't think the bulls are going to give up control yet. So if that idea is going to reign true, then we should see equal movement on the U.S. dollar in the reverse. So looking for, I was calling this level in here last week. You can see that I got highlighted, and basically right on this blue line would kind of be the line where I'd be looking for it. So if it is going to continue and close up through this line, then we should see price run up to this 120.55 level, which is just basically, again, just the lows of this consolidation level in here. And then 119.60, 119.70 right now is what we're trading at currently. So we'll see if price has any willingness to continue. This is a daily candle, obviously, so we're going to have to wait for a few hours yet for the daily close in order to find out if it wants to close below here. But again, if it does close higher, I think we're probably going to push higher in as well too on the US dollar. I think we definitely have some room to come down a little bit further. So I would honestly anticipate this level here to get run up to into Tuesday's trading. So we can look for that and potentially look for some setups on that one. And its price has traded off. So Monday opened right here. So I'll just, this was Monday's open right there. And you see how price traded nicely away from that right at the open. Price traded away nicely and has not really come back down once. A small retracement right here, pushed up higher, and then a nice retracement down in here as well too. So I'm waiting for this candle to have just to kind of have a peek and see what this candle wants to do. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they came down and swept the lows here. But they may not need to do that. This could be it right here at 119.67 or 119.65 basically, and then they could reject and then push higher and then see again this ultimate nice push right up into here. So if you're looking at getting long on the euro, you know, I would suggest that you look at this candle here. If it shows any willingness to reject, you could probably get long. If it closes lower and it goes down below this consolidation level, I would be looking at these lows to get swept here and maybe a retouch off of the open and then a continuation higher. I don't know that it's necessarily going to get down that deep, but I'll be watching that candle for sure. The pound dollar, same type of idea as the euro. So again, I'm looking for the US dollar. I'm looking for a move lower, then a move higher. It'd be the opposite. I'd be looking for a move higher and then a continuation lower on the pound dollar. So I've got 137.10 marked out on the levels right here where I believe price could run to. And really that just kind of brings us down to this old low. You see here, this old low that was created there, and then this small consolidation area right there. I think price will trade up to that here in the next little while. So I'm looking the next day or two. But the cable is definitely not like the euro. You can see the euro has been trending nicely, whereas they've been sort of holding the cable in consolidation here. I am looking for this trend to finally start to break and this to run. Now, just looking at the economic news events again, there is some pound dollar news coming out on Tuesday morning trading at 4:30 a.m. New York time. I would expect some type of movement on this in that time period. So you can see here it has chopped higher nicely along with the euro, but definitely still in this consolidation area here. So what I'm looking for is price to come down just slightly. If it doesn't lose these lows in here, then we'll probably see price start to rebound straight up higher from there, from its current location. But I would kind of like to see these lows in here get swept, these equal lows, come back down and just maybe retest off of some of these candle levels in here. So I can pinpoint that a little more specifically for some of our members in the group. But I am, again, looking for price to run higher, and I believe, again, 37.10 could be a target on for the week. So if we look at from current levels to there, that's a nice 120 pip range. So that would be a great pip haul for a nice intraday movement on the pound dollar. So that's what I'm looking at for that. But again, I'd be watching to see what price does at 137.10. If it starts to reject, then I would be expecting it to reverse and eventually take out these lows here, continue down lower, and take out these lows here that I had identified. And then from there, ultimately, I am bullish on pound dollar. I'd like to see price get above here again, in this area in here. But I don't think we've quite set the low on the pound, and I don't want to come in and call out the lows and say, no, that's definitely the low and it's not going any further than that. I don't want to get into that scenario. We'll wait and see what happens at 137.10. If there's willingness to continue higher, then we'll expect higher prices to ensue. But if they start to reject and start to wick up into this area here, I would expect them to push price down one more time. So we'll watch for that. Euro GBP, I called this movement on here on Thursday. Price was trading down here. I said we shouldn't get any lower than these lows, and you can see here price exploded up last Thursday. I actually called the high here to get taken out, and it just fell short by a few pips. So I was wrong in that regard, but I did call the move up here to run higher. I think it was one of the live sessions that I had done last week, and you should have seen the ensuing move in the pound dollar last week, which was this move. And again, the pound is chopping, but that was this move down here, obviously. So pound dollar, it should continue to chop higher. If it does that, then again, the pound dollar should go lower. Euro GBP should run higher, and Euro USD, they should manipulate that as well too. So we'll be looking for a move to continue higher there. But again, it just, you know, looks like it's kind of stair-stepping higher. So I would assume the next move would bring it down to here, which would coincide in a move higher in the pound dollar. And then from there, a subsequent bounce and a trade higher as well too. So something kind of in line with this. This is what I'm looking at to transpire on the pound dollar. Something like that. And then eventually a trade back up into these highs into here, which I think could have been the ultimate move overall. So you can see they rammed price up here, then they've just been consolidating and slowly chopping it sideways. They came under here, swept these lows, and then now we're right back into this the middle of this consolidation level. So what I'm thinking here is, I'm just going to take a quick fib from the body down to this point here. Okay, and I'm just going to be looking at this level right here. Okay, so 0.8850 is, I believe, a major level, and I want to see, they've failed to reach it here. They gunned through it here and everywhere else, but this is pretty much the middle of this consolidation range in here. I'm looking for this level here to see if there's any resistance at all in the way of forming a ceiling, price potentially bouncing off of this level and maybe continuing lower. So that is what I'm watching for. You can see here they've been chopping it down. They came down, swept the lows, and now they're trading back up almost to it here. If price does not want to go higher, what they're going to want to, like if price doesn't want to come up and take out these highs here, what they're going to do is they're going to trade up to that 88.50 level, and that'll be it. It won't want to see any willingness to continue higher from there. If their ultimate move was lower, and this was just a return to grab stops, that's the number that they'll be reaching for, and then they'll sink it. If price pushes up through that 88.50 level, you can expect that the highs in here are going to get tagged, and I'll be looking for these highs to get run for that if this level 88.50 gets ran. So that's Euro GBP. And moving on, I'm not going to discuss too much on the Canadian dollar. Bit of an interesting price movement on here. I want to sort of wait for this price to develop a little bit further. We're kind of just trading back into this consolidation range back here. You can see prices chopping sideways. So to be honest with you, what I think I might be looking for here would be, I'm looking for lower prices. I think price will come down to 126.20. But whether they want to run it up higher for the interim and then drop it, I don't know. That sort of remains to be seen. It could happen the exact opposite, or they could just tank it right from here. So I'm going to be hesitant to calling out a level on this to trade off of for the time being, but I'll keep my eye on this and I'll update you throughout the week on that. Crude oil, real quickly on this, you can see this price fluctuation. This is where this candle right here last Tuesday, this is where Trump had jumped on the squawk box and started tweeting about or backing out of that Iranian deal, and basically leaving the European nations and everyone else high and dry with that whole deal that they're doing with Iran. So very interesting. They sunk it and then quick rejection, and now it's pushing higher. So I believe we all know which way this market is heading, and it's something, it's the area that I've been calling for a number of months here. If you've been following my work, and you'll know that I am calling for much higher prices, and I'm just going to run some levels up here just so you can. 73.20 I believe is a level that will get tagged here pretty quickly, so keep that level in mind. I think we'll see that this week, not too far away, and we're starting to see a nice bull move off of it. So we had a bit of a retracement on Friday's candle, as you can see, this one black down candle there, and now Monday it's just been screaming up higher so far. So I'm expecting that to continue, but what I'd like to see is if price could come back down, recapitalize on some of these longs, and then I'd be looking at to get higher and up to there again. So that's a nice price movement from 70. We'd be sub 71. We'd be about, brings us down to about 70 if we can get price to come back down. I'm just looking sort of for a trade off of these highs in here. May not give it to us. This last candle, this last hourly candle right here could have been it, but I am looking for a move, about a $2 move higher on US oil for the week, so we'll watch for that. Now if price comes down and starts to trade, see this consolidation, see where they dropped it here, came back down and screwed around in here a little bit. If we lose that low, if we start trading back down into here, then the low, then that will negate that idea. I believe we could be going lower if that is the case. I don't think they need to trade back down here because this candle that they fluctuated did that for us. So I believe we're going to see higher prices going forward on crude oil. So we'll just be looking for long entries all through the week. Aussie. Now this was the news that was coming out this evening on Aussie. So if you're an Aussie trader, you can watch for this. Same type of idea as the US dollar. Right, if we see a continued further drop in the dollar, we should see the opposite happen in the Aussie dollar. So I would expect at the very least a move up into this consolidation level in here, and at the very least that's what I would expect. So could be some nice movement from current levels on Aussie dollar. We could see them fluctuate price about 100 pips up into this level right here. But what I would expect for the news, so I'm just going to drive down to an hourly chart. You can see here they've been chopping it sideways. They're waiting for that news release to happen in order to release price. You see these equal lows down here. You see how price is just banking off of here, creating equal low after equal low. I would expect them to continue to chop this sideways until that news comes out. But then drop it down and sweep these lows here, maybe even sweeping these lows here, and potentially coming down to somewhere in about the 75.20 level would be sort of where I'd be looking for price to come down. Just maybe a sweep of this low and this low down to here, and then I'd be looking for a bounce and a continuation higher. So we can watch for that. But I am expecting higher prices on Aussie dollar, and that's just to coincide here for the next day or two with the drop with the US dollar. So once that drop is completed, I wouldn't necessarily get on board with being long Aussie for the long haul. However, if you look on this chart up here, we do have some relatively equal highs up here. That price could be interested in coming in and tagging. They came up and ran price of about a pip. It is a bit of a turtle soup, but they definitely did not convincingly run this high here, and then they dropped it. So we'll see what happens there. But I definitely don't think price has got to get through this area in here in order to do that. And to be honest with you, it'd have to be a pretty big run on the Aussie dollar. And this, I believe, we're probably going to see some support at these levels in here. So it may not come to fruition, but I would definitely look for a price run up into here at least. So I'll just tag that out. About the 76.35 level would be sort of where I'd be looking for price to run. So that would be just under 100 pips from here. So nice little movement on the Aussie if we can get that this evening. Moving right along, coffee could be coming down to a very interesting level here. I'm going to discuss that later in the week. Look at orange juice. Man, I was talking about orange juice when it was down here. I was looking for longs down in here, and actually price came in and faked me out right here. Came back down, traded into it one more time, and look at that explosive movement off of there. So keep this in mind. You see this right here? This is the same type of movement I'm looking in the sugar market. And right now, I'm just waiting to see what price wants to do here on the early opening trading here of the week. So I want to see if we can get, because there's a couple of equal highs up here that I believe could be ran. And if we see, look at this, just explosive action. That's just gorgeous action to see. I'd love to see that. And when we get in a move like this in the orange juice market and put a couple of contracts on it, those are big money makers right there. So anyway, last thing I wanted to talk about quickly was Bitcoin. I think we could start to see a bit of a sell-off here. They came down, ran some stops underneath here, and basically ran it back down to this consolidation level right here. So far they've rejected. Now I want to see what happens if when price gets up to the basically about the 9,000 level. I've got 90.38 on the chart here, but basically about the 9,000 level right in here. If they don't show any willingness to continue higher than this level in here, I believe price is going to start to drop and it's going to fall out, and then we're going to sweep these lows down here. So I'm going to bring this down here. That's my ultimate objective. I think that's where we're going to be heading, and they could do it fairly quickly here. So just keep an eye on that. I might even put out a sell signal on Bitcoin as well too, if I like the price action on this when it comes back up to here. So we'll watch for that. And that's about it for the week, folks. Should be lots of action happening. Lots of excitement. There's definitely going to be some movement, so hopefully you can capitalize on that. And to all of our members, you can expect several signals coming out this week. We've already started launching a couple of signals already. I'm going to start putting out a few more signals as the day progresses as well, and into tomorrow, so you can watch for that. And if you haven't yet, please make sure you check us out up here at our website, f45trading.com. You can join us for free for 14 days. You can check us out, see all of our signals, and you can get a ton of other resources, chat room, live trading, these pre-recorded videos, etc., etc., etc. So many advantages to joining us. So please check us out on Twitter and IG as well too if you haven't. So thanks very much, everybody. Hope you have a great week of trading, and we'll catch up to you on our next live session, which is going to be Tuesday, New York session. We'll see you then. Actually, maybe London. I'll let you know. I'll post some notifications if I decide to do London, just depending on how price action shapes up. I might want to get ahead of the market and do a London open session here in about, I don't know, what is that, 12 hours, about 14 hours from now. So I'll let you know on that one if I do that. So we'll catch up with you then.